Welcome everyone to what I'm going to call the Symbiotes Ultima 7.1 Auto Challenge. Now, in this video we are going to be running through the middle lane of Ultima 7, which is what I do every day. Unfortunately, the raid was launched like just as I was going to bed last night. So I had to run the first two nodes so that it would give time for my energy to recover by the time I woke up. So because of that, we are starting actually just past the first boss node here, since it was cleared while I was asleep as well. But we are going to try and run through this entirely without any input from myself, entirely on auto, even through all the boss fights, with the hopes that we can manage to clear this and to see how good the symbiotes really are. So now this is 7.1, not as high as it could be at 7.4 or 5, so I would be interested to hear from you guys if you're running any of this, what your results are with Anti-Venom and the symbiotes as well. So let's get this show started. So here we are at E4, this is node number 3/4 on the middle lane, depending on how you look at it here. And so we're going to jump ahead here with the symbiotes. So to clarify for anyone who might not have watched my previous video on my unlock for Anti-Venom, I am running Striker currently for Anti-Venom, Skirmisher for Carnage, Raider for Scream and Symbiote Spider-Man, and Striker as well for Venom. Now, if you are running at the higher difficulties, I would recommend possibly using healer ISOs for everyone. I know that a lot of people do that just to make sure that your survivability is even greater. But because we're not there, this is only Ultima 7.1, that we are just going to be running with this ISO team arrangement. Also, I'm still working on getting some ions for the rest of my team. So, and I haven't even finished my Black Order, which I was trying to do. So we're gonna we're gonna start here on Iron Fist. I'm gonna completely hands off here. I'm not gonna touch it at all, and with any luck we're gonna get through this just fine and nobody's gonna die. And so that's the goal of this challenge. If anyone does die, I'll consider it as a fail, even though it might only if we lose the match by the end of it, or we end the match and someone's dead and Anti-Venom hasn't revived them for whatever reason, that'll be also a fail. So fortunately we're on that Luke Cage. Completely out of my hands here. I'm just letting it target whoever it wants to target. In this case it's Luke Cage, even though we should be doing someone else. But that's the point of this challenge, to see how much input needs to be given in order to get through this. I don't expect too much challenge probably in the first handful of nodes. I think where normally there is a challenge tends to be probably at the third boss node, I would say, and beyond. And particularly the final node is where there's definitely a lot of trouble, because there could be some RNG involved. Now, my Anti-Venom's actually quite tough. He's sitting at almost 210,000 hit points, so I am hoping that that's enough. Now, everyone's tier 14, so I want to make that absolutely clear as well. So, you know, this is potentially, give or take with some yellow and red stars, the best that you're going to get in terms of what they look like in stats and survivability and all that. So that's another reason why I wanted to do this. It's unfortunate, you know, I don't have 7.5 unlocked or anything like that, so I can't test the best of the best, you know, because that's where I'm at with my alliance. But so we got this node down here. Let's move on. Also, I'm interested to see the clear times as well. So when you have a hands-off approach like this, I'm wanting to know how fast you can clear the nodes. So if you guys watched my video from yesterday when I did do some brief gameplay footage of boss node number 3, I think the Ronin boss node, I did actually time out, and that's because I did a lot of mistakes while I was actually playing it. But you know, I want to see comparatively to that one, you know, what time can we clear it in without actually doing anything. So keeping an eye on my sort of time remaining, just out of sheer curiosity, how long it takes me to clear this without any input, because obviously the AI is going to pick it way quicker than I do when I click my buttons, so that does make a little bit of a difference. And I remember actually back before the Ultima 7 slider that you know, timing was a bit of an issue as well. I find that the Anti-Venom animations actually take a little bit longer than some of the other characters, and Symbiote Spider-Man's basics sometimes can take a little bit long, you know, when he's rebounding back and forth. But compared to like Scream and Carnage, who I think have really quick animations, Anti-Venom, you know, with the basic, well, it wasn't the basic, but he does a basic normally, and then he like goes to the other team member and heals them up, and that takes a little bit of time as well. But the auto time seems to be pretty good. Normally when I'm doing this level here, this takes me about 1.5 minutes usually. Or no, sorry, maybe closer to 2 minutes actually. So we're doing pretty well in terms of the auto speed. Unfortunately, because we're doing a complete auto run, that also means that we're not going to necessarily have all of our skills available when we start the next node. So pretty sure the next one is the second boss node with Nick Fury. Where it can become an issue, of course, is there's a lot of Magnetos in the middle lane for Ultimus, and I think there's one here as well. No, maybe not this one. There was one on the first boss node, and definitely on the third one there's a Magneto, and that's where there's a bit of an issue there. So we're going to get through this now. We only have 30 more energy, so what's going to happen, of course, it's not going to look like that for you guys, but when I finish my energy, I'll be taking a break and then coming back to this video and finishing it off later. But obviously, it'll look like, you know, one full video for you guys. I'll just have to take a personal break to complete it. So here we are on the second boss node. This is Nick Fury. Don't think this is going to be much of a problem. We're actually going to start, since I have to choose someone to start, we're going to start on Nick Fury here. Anti-Venom's at half health, actually. Oh, there we go. Get some healing back. Defense up from Venom. Okay, so we're well, I think once you get to that defense up with Venom, then you're probably looking pretty good, unless it gets cleared or something for some reason. It's just that surviving that first initial turn. I think if you can survive the first turn, normally you're in a pretty good shape. Now I think to make this challenge even better, I think I'm probably going to need to invest in, I think maybe Scream's special T4. There is a few T4s that I didn't do right out of the gate. Something I'm going to be looking into, I think, as well. I also have 2 T4s on Anti-Venom, now that we're on the subject. For those who might not have watched my unlocked video, I have the basic and the ultimate at T4s. I haven't done the special, which is the revive from 30% to 60%, because I didn't feel that he really revived all that frequently. I think, especially since I have full T14 characters, that the survivability is really good. And so I don't necessarily need to invest in that at this time. But I am thinking about getting the passive for Anti-Venom. So I haven't been able to test this fully myself, but there is reports from people in my alliance that suggest the way the passive works for Anti-Venom is that it actually checks each member of the symbiote's team for debuffs. Now, it's supposed to clear 1 from everyone, but supposedly it can clear up to 5 on one person if they have multiple debuffs. If everyone else doesn't have debuffs, then it can actually clear up to 5 on a single symbiote. So I don't have it myself to test that, but that's supposedly what it does, which makes it sound even better. So instead of just a flat 1 from everyone, you could potentially get multiple debuff clears from a single symbiote. So that sounds pretty cool. So I might have to invest in that as well. I have about 1,000 T4s anyways, so I think that's something that I'm going to look at, since we do have a couple of weeks until the next patch, probably about at least 2 weeks until patch 4.5. So I think I might be able to invest another T4 or 2 into the symbiotes. And that's probably going to be 1 on Anti-Venom and 1 on Scream probably at this point. And there we are, so that's 2 minutes and 40 for the Nick Fury boss node there, so that's not bad. I think normally, like, when I do it, it's about 3.5 minutes. So we're on, here we go. Next node, E6. Two more to go before I get to take a slight break. And then, hopefully, by the time I get energy, the Ronin boss node won't have been cleared. And we'll get to carry on all the way to the Ultimus boss node. The Ronin third boss node in the center is actually where there is a bit of challenge, I think. So that's why I'm looking to make sure I get that in on this video. And I might, just in case, I might actually just spend some energy just now just to make sure I clear it, because I don't want my opposite laning partner to clear it, because I want to see what it's like with this team. So Anti-Venom's, or sorry, whoa, wow, Venom almost bit it here. We didn't get the defense up, so this is a bit of an issue. And we're stuck behind this Hulk taunt here. And of course, because we're on a complete hands-off mode, there goes Scream. Now, are we gonna get a revive? It looks like we did get a revive. Maybe I do need to invest in that 60%, because we might lose Scream again. This could be A bit problematic with the hands-off approach, because obviously we should be killing these other targets, but we were stuck in, and then we stunned a dead person there. So it looks like we're back. That was a bit close, actually. Oh, and War Machine. And because we didn't have that defense up, that was a huge problem. And now we're stuck on that, I say stuck, but because I'm completely hands-off, not touching my mouse. So we're keeping it on a Hulk, even though maybe we shouldn't be. Although he just died from bleeds. That was a close one. The challenge could have been over there, but looks like we're back in action. Everyone's full health with defense up with Venom. Now, when I'm probably going to normally like do this on my own, I highly doubt I'm just going to let it play out like this. I'll probably, you know, pick my own targets, but I am curious. This is why I'm doing this video here, to see how much it matters with the input still. You know, Ultimate 7 is still somewhat, you know, it's still challenging to a degree. So I wouldn't recommend necessarily doing this. You know, at least choosing the targets that you want to kill first is probably better, but you know, that's not what this challenge video is about. So here we are. We did clear that. Now hopefully we have some ability energy for Anti-Venom going into the next nodes, and then I think we have one more before the boss node, so that one was a little bit challenging. I think this one's quite a bit easier than the last one. I think there's just a lot of AoE damage potential there, and we got messed up a little bit from that. So let's choose a better starting target. So I get to choose the first target, and then after that, hands off. So who should we start with here? I don't remember who comes down. I really like this Anti-Venom background. All right, it's Drax, so I forgot about that. So not much we can just do there, so we'll just hope for the best here. Yeah, maybe I should get the, I don't know. I need to get either the special or the ultimate T4 on Scream. I only have the basic, and I actually went with the passive, even though it's not a priority one. I think I don't know why I grabbed it. I think I'll probably do the special next, though. Like I've been saying, I think that while the ultimate is definitely a good T4, I think sometimes it's a little bit redundant with Symbiote Spider-Man's ultimate, because it is on a relatively low cooldown, and it does do 2 turns slow to everyone. So you don't necessarily need that. And the ultimate T4 on Scream, unfortunately, doesn't do 2 turns of Disrupt. It's just 2 turns on slow. If it was 2 turns of Disrupt, I think that would be a lot better. And I realize I think Venom is one of my few characters that don't have T4s. I wonder if I should invest in the passive at some point for him as well, just to ensure his regen and survivability up to the point where it spreads the defense up. Okay, so this one's looking a lot better than than the previous node. So far, so good. We just used the revive and got 3 ability energy back. Now I'm hoping that he doesn't waste it again before we clear this, so that we can have that for the Ronin boss node if necessary. Unfortunately, we've just used up a lot of our abilities, it looks like there, with especially Scream just used a lot back to back. So we're not going to be relying on that. We got 2 basics there by Anti-Venom, so I think, if I remember his ability energy correctly, he should have a lot of his abilities up for the next round, but Scream won't, so we'll see how if that impacts anything for this boss node here. So I am going to refresh the energy here just to make sure we have enough to clear this boss node here. Oh, F70 brother, this is the Ronin boss node, so sometimes this actually does provide some challenge here, especially because of the Magneto in this boss fight. So we're going to see if this presents us with any challenge. If not, I don't expect there to be much challenge until maybe the War Machine mini boss, only because of how powerful War Machine can be if left unchecked, and then of course the final boss node. So we're just over halfway through. We have this node, this boss node, and then we have 4 more nodes after this, which we'll get to, or I'll get to later on in the day once my energy recovers. And so that's what I wanted to talk about. Actually, I'm going to start with Ronin. Ronin is the priority target here. So that, in the past, that ability block from Korath has actually killed me, killed Scream before when I've done these sort of runs. So I'm thankful that Anti-Venom had enough hit points to survive that. Now, unfortunately, we're stuck behind Juggernaut, and we didn't get to kill Ronin either, so we'll see how tricky this ends up becoming. We did get the immunity here for what it's worth, but then I don't know if Doctor Strange did Winds of Watum or not. I wasn't really paying attention actually there. Now, of course, this is a complete hands-off auto run, and even though there was no taunt on the Juggernaut, I, would have normally switched targets, and I really want to switch to Magneto, but this isn't the point of the video. So hopefully, it'll auto switch over there, and it looks like it did. So hopefully we can still get that Magneto down. He's a real pain in the ass in this node here. So it looks like it auto-targeted, so maybe my luck is with me there. Because there's a Pyro there, what's really annoying here is when Magneto drags everyone together, and then Pyro just clears all the buffs, starts the bleeds, and that's where some problems can become. But if you can manage to do that and clear them before that becomes a problem, then you're all good. Like it seems like we did. So I think we're in good shape here. We lost a couple of buffs there from that Pyro, but we should be able to get it back. 9 out of 15. I think we're doing pretty good for this node here. I'm kind of curious on the time. So this was the node that in my previous video when I did my Anti-Venom unlock, I did some gameplay footage of this node here with Anti-Venom, and we timed out. And that's because I was kind of looking at my kit on Anti-Venom while I was doing it, and I think I slowed it down to 2 times at certain portions. So I want to see if I completely auto this, how long does it take for me to clear this? Compared to when I timed out the other day. So we're at 7 out of 15 characters, about 2.5 minutes left. Another Ronin, another Doctor Strange. Unfortunately, Doctor Strange can be a bit of an issue here because he could flip this, but I think we're in a good shape. Fortunately, we're beating into Juggernaut rather than dealing with Ronin or Doctor Strange, but I think we're stuck here until Juggernaut dies. Anti-Venom just uses special, but there's no one to revive, so he gets 3 ability energy back, which is nice. There we go, we're on Ronin now, so maybe, because he's right next to him, we can get some extra bleeds over onto... Uh-oh. Winds of Watum, but we had evade up, so we got to dodge that. So I think how we got evade was that ability block, the reverse of ability block is evade, I think. So Anti-Venom produced that on the rest of the team that way. Alright, Venom's ultimate's gone. I think that was also Symbiote Spider-Man's special that we finished the match off. So we did it with 1 minute and 30 to spare, so that took 3.5 minutes completely on auto, so that was actually a fair bit of time that required to do that at this difficulty. So I'm wondering what it kind of looks like at higher difficulties when they have more hit points. Anyways, that is the end of the 3rd boss node here, so we're going to be taking a slight break. I'm going to be taking a slight break until my energy recovers. Then we're going to continue off the video for the last final 4 nodes, and hopefully by the end of this we can find out whether or not that the symbiotes can clear it completely on auto, hands-free. Alright, and we're back for the second half of the video. We do have 41 energy, so just enough to get all the way to the end here. Hopefully we don't end up dying or anything like that happens, so we just have enough energy to get all the way through to the end boss. So we have 4 nodes left to go here, and we're going to get back started here. Doing the same thing as, so we'll start off by autoing again the first target and letting it rip from there. And I'm probably not going to be too concerned about these next 2 nodes. I think the War Machine boss might be a bit tricky. War Machine himself does hit pretty hard, especially with the ultimate, so if left unchecked, depending on who the auto decides to target first. And then I'm really concerned about the start up of the final Ultimus boss node, because that's known to been a bit tricky for me. So let's start off with Nick Fury. And of course, we're going to let it rip. So hopefully with any luck, this isn't going to be too much of a problem. always, I think, the biggest thing that I've noticed with the symbiotes is as long as you can make it past the first turn, typically there's not too problematic after that. It's normally the first turn, surviving any like sort of first turn attacks, that's usually the biggest problem that they have. Making sure the Venom can get to his ultimate, or sorry, to his passive to trigger the defense up to everyone, and that's usually the biggest concern that I've noticed. And now that I have tier 14 for all of my symbiotes, they have the survivability, they have enough survivability to get them through that. That being said, I'm not running healer ISOs, so I wonder if I need to do that. I mean, I don't think I do, being at Ultimate 7.1, but if I ever do get higher difficulties, or in the future with maybe harder raids, that might be a possibility. And we're blinded here by everyone, and that's why I really hate Magneto. It's off now, but that is a bit of a pain in the ass when it comes to fighting Magneto and nodes. Especially when you're in the middle lanes, Magneto does show up quite a handful of times. And he is a bit of a pain, because he's normally combined with characters like Sabretooth or Pyro, other characters that do a lot of adjacent damage. Although it looks like he didn't really pull everyone together. He only, I don't know what happened there. It's a very odd shaping of my team lineup there, so. We do have a Pyro there. It seems like Carnage, Anti-Venom, and Scream might be next to each other, but then Symbiote Spider-Man and Venom might be... Oh no, okay. I was a bit confused. Maybe Venom's off to one side. It's really hard for me to tell, actually, because they got sort of pulled around a little bit. Anyway, so far so good. We're about almost 2 minutes in, so this one's going to get cleared a lot quicker. Boom. Last move here, basic. So I think I wasn't paying attention to my abilities, to be honest, so I think we're doing pretty okay. Have 3 more nodes left to go in this challenge. Hopefully we make it to the end. And then that really tells me that also that when I do my own raid stuff, that I don't really need to put too much thought into it, and I can just, if I don't want to play it, you know, I probably could just auto it and I'll be fine. And if I really want to do, you know, some kind of input, you know, I could just, you know, just auto it anyways and then focus target that way, because you can still do that. Let's start here on Hand Sentry. Actually, let's start here on Hand Assassin. It's a bit late now, probably, but... so this is actually the node where I've actually been one-shot in the past, where Hand Assassin's special actually does a fair bit of damage here, and luckily I have defense up now, but it can actually hit for like a good 100k, maybe more depending on the difficulty, so that has been an issue in the past. When I first did my my Scream video, that's where Scream ended up getting one shot because she wasn't high enough at the time, but now everyone's tier 14, so it's pretty... you know, there's not much danger for me, I would say, at this point. Just looking at everything that's going on here. Anti-Venom is all that, I think, you know, and more. Of course, I'm sitting at only 4 stars, so once I get that 5 yellow, hopefully by the end of the event, or however many shards I do end up picking up through the event, you know, I have that 5 red, so getting a 5 yellow, 5 red is going to make a huge mountain of difference. Now, he is kind of what I would say a kit character. You don't need to have him super bulky to be effective, but of course, you know, just like Minerva and other support characters, you know, the more yellow and red stars you have, the more hit points they have, and typically that means more survivability. So Anti-Venom being a support trait character, I have a feeling that a lot of AI, the way that the AI works, would probably target him a bit more frequently than some of the other characters. Normally the enemies in raids and challenges and certain things kind of go out of their way to target weak characters, and you might notice that from time to time when you're playing. So I'm not sure if that still happens here, because my Anti-Venom has like 200k hit points or so, and Scream probably is the weakest HP wise. Just looking at my own bars here, it looks like she has less of the green ticks, and I'm pretty sure she does have the least amount of hit points there. Fortunately, Venom just... Oh, we just used the the Symbiote Spider-Man ultimate, unfortunately, so that's not going to be ready for the start of the next node, which is the War Machine boss node. This is the second to last node in Ultima 7. So let's see how that goes. I'll be honest, I'm a bit concerned about going into the Ultimus raid node, raid boss node here, depending on how this War Machine boss node ends. Normally, I do really want to have all of my cooldowns ready going into that, but for the purposes of this video, we're gonna see how it goes regardless of, you know, I'm just hands off, gonna pick the first target, and the same thing is gonna go for the boss node. So whether or not we do get all the way through the Ultimus boss node could have a little RNG luck involved. So we're gonna start here with War Machine and hope for the best. Oh my god. And we lost Scream already, so let's hope we got a revive ready there, and we do. She healed back up fairly well, and we got defense up, so that's good. But I don't know what the AI is in terms of the special for Anti-Venom. So some characters, their AI works a bit interestingly, that they won't use certain attacks if they don't need to. So I don't know if, and I think that's the same for Minerva's special. Like, I don't think she revives on auto unless she really needs to, otherwise she'll just use the basic and the ultimate. So I don't know if Anti-Venom necessarily holds any of his abilities out, especially on the special, if he doesn't need to heal or if he doesn't need to revive. I haven't been paying too close attention, to be honest, and maybe I should have paid attention at least to that. We do have a stun here on Anti-Venom. That's gonna get shaken off in a second here, though. Other wasted Venom special. 10 out of 15. We're stuck on that Drax. That was actually a decent ult there. But yeah, I think I'm not gonna wait. You know, when we're near the end of this node, we're gonna go into the last Ultimus node as is. Hopefully we don't take any serious damage here from that War Machine though, because he's probably gonna take a turn since I'm not targeting him. We do have the defense up though, so I'm hoping he doesn't do too much damage to my team. Oh, there we go, actually. So now we're on War Machine. We did get the offense down. So I think we're probably good to go here, actually. I haven't seen Anti-Venom use a special yet. I don't know if it's because he doesn't have ability energy for it. So I'm hoping by the end of this that he will, or he doesn't use it actually, because then we might get no, that was the ultimate, right? Yeah, okay. Because we don't want to get screwed on this last node. It's gonna be. I'm not sure how it's gonna go. I know I've had issues with this node in the past, even though it's only Ultimus 7.1, and there it is. So that was the special, which isn't and that was the ultimate. Actually, that was really probably terrible timing, because we've just lost a lot of skills going into this last node. So I'm not sure how well it's gonna go, but you know, that's part of this challenge. So whether or not we do, it might be the case that you can auto everything except for the final node, where you might want to put a little bit of input in. This is going to be the test, but even if we don't clear this, I still say it would be a success regardless, and then, you know, obviously you should probably take control at this point. But let's see if we do make it. So we're going to start off with the first target, which will probably be Captain Marvel, I think, is normally who I want to start with. Oh, 200k on, oh my god, oh, and there's Scream, 350k damage, wow, almost 2 people down. So let's start over here. It's not looking so hot. We don't have the special ready. This could be an issue. We do have defense up, but we just lost it on Carnage. Oh boy. Is this the end of the... Okay, so maybe there should have been more hands-on, some more saving of the cooldowns near the end. I think so, because I don't think we're going to get through this, guys. I think this is the end of the challenge. So, unless Symbiote Spider-Man can keep it together, but given the fact that I'm not giving any input, no, this is over. So the moral of this one is, when you're doing the very last node, or the second to last node, the War Machine boss node, you should probably not auto it. You should probably, at least towards the end of the match, make sure that your your ability cooldowns are closer to being ready, and then that way I know I've done this manually, so I know it is possible. Just I don't think these two nodes particularly are auto-friendly in the case that you're going to want to make sure that your ability is ready going into this final node. So unfortunately, that's the end of the challenge there. We lost the challenge, but we did get very far, and to be honest, I think that was a bit expected. There were some moments where it was a bit shaky, namely the third boss, Ronin, and of course this Ultimus boss node, but you know, I kind of expected that to happen. Otherwise, this team seems to be all of that and a bag of potato chips still, and definitely worth your investment, and even more so if you need a more solid raid team. But of course, you know, without Symbiote Spider-Man though, there really isn't much of a team, so make sure you build him first before anyone else. But anyways, that's the end of this video, guys, so thanks everyone for watching, and of course, until next time, stay safe, and I'll see y'all later. While I'm signing out.